podcast es presentado por Anáhuac Media, una coproducción del Centro de Medios y la Escuela de Comunicación de la Universidad Anáhuac Querétaro. Ahora escuchas.
Reality is distorted when you get stuck in your head, overthinking every move and judging each one. This podcast is here to cut through that noise. This space is about rethinking your perspective so life feels clearer, lighter, and more intentional. It's not about chasing perfection, it's about being honest with yourself, standing in your truth, and finding that in your heart, there's a power to change everything. If rejection scares you, staying stuck should terrify you. Because really, when has being comfortable ever really helped you? Have you ever gotten anywhere just being comfortable? Probably not. Every no is a step closer to getting you to a yes. And besides, happiness is an inside job. Stop waiting for somebody else to recognize your worth. The validation you crave won't come from the outside. You should start to look inward. Now, talking about fear of rejection, whenever we get rejected, sometimes it feels that every part of us is being victimized. That we feel, all of us. But why do we feel like it's all of us? I think sometimes we need to separate the feelings from ourselves, because it really doesn't matter what is happening or what people are telling you, because people don't care. Now, look, if fruit didn't have a couple of seeds, then what would be the fun in eating it? You get bored. I mean, grapes, they're great, but they're small. I mean, you need something. Not everybody's perfect. Sometimes we make mistakes. But we need to talk about what part of you really feels rejected. What part feels guilty? Maybe the part that worries about somebody seeing your flaws. Maybe you're worried somebody saw your insecurities the second before they rejected you. Yeah, probably not. We aren't the window. You can't see through us. And I really can't stress this enough. But really, nobody cares. And I understand a lot of people take this in a way like, oh my God, nobody cares about me. Or, oh fine, then I shouldn't care about anything ever again. Or, all right, let me hurt whoever I want. It's not that. It's not limited to one thing. This is completely giving you the idea that you can go through life not worrying about being observed. And it's a good thing. I feel people get too stuck on that, honestly. And I think you can use it as something really good. People don't care. People only care about themselves so much. And this is what it is. If you go through life worrying about what people care, like, are thinking about you, you're going to stay stuck. And you don't want to live that life. You can change it. You don't have to stay like that forever. Because, look, you need to ask yourself and really look into yourself and say, why does this negation of whatever you're going through during that time affect me so bad? Like, say you're seeing somebody and you bump into each other, you start developing a friendship, you start developing feelings for this person, and you finally let it be known to the other person. The person says no. They reject you. The last thing you're going to do is cry at their feet and beg them to give you a chance. Because, for one, you don't want somebody that wants you back, that doesn't want you back. Because why do you want that? You really need to ask yourself that. Because I see a lot of people go through life where they're really just punishing themselves. They're really hurting themselves. And they always go after people. I mean, they'll get rejected and it's almost like they cling on to that emotion. Like they want to feel it more. And they hate it. They hate it. So say somebody doesn't want you back. Why do you cling on to this so much? You don't want somebody that doesn't want you back. But why do you keep pushing yourself, saying, no, well, I want this, I want this, I want this? Maybe you don't want yourself back. Maybe you don't care. A lot of the things we do is a reflection of us. It is. I mean, that's all it is. Everything that goes through our brain, through our body, through our soul, it's a reflection of us. It's what we're putting out there. Now, let's say maybe you get rejected and you decide, you get so awkward and you feel so deeply uncomfortable in your skin and you don't know what to do with yourself. You're over there, you're scratching yourself, you're basically ripping off your clothes because you don't know what to do with that feeling. What is it? You're always stressing about this. You're like, oh my God. Or maybe you don't even notice, because there's a lot of times people don't notice. But what is it? Maybe it really is just that. You don't feel comfortable in your own skin. Now that's how you have to look inward. Rejection is what I would consider very superficial, but we drag it so far into ourselves that we take it as something personal. Now, I feel there's like a lot of times that we believe our insecurities are projected on our physical form. Like they're projected right here on your face. Or there's like an LED light just right next to you saying, this is everything I'm insecure about. This is everything that's wrong with me. And for some reason, you feel like people can see that. Why do you think people see that? Nobody sees it. Nobody's looking at you and reading off a list of all of your insecurities. They're not paying attention to that. People really need to let that go and understand it, because it's such a small thing that you can waste a lot of your life with if you just focus on those things. I feel as you need grounding techniques. I remember when I was younger, actually not that long ago, I would always feel like there was something on my face telling people that I'm insecure, that I hate this about myself. I feel like people could look at me and they could read it. Everybody used to tell me, eyes are the window to your soul. I took that so literally. I took that in a way I wanted and ran with it. I was so deeply insecure at one point that I was even scared to look at myself in the mirror. But then, after time of getting, like, talking to people and feeling this, I would run to the bathroom and look at myself. And I would look at myself. I'm like, oh my God, is there something wrong with me? Is there something on my face? I turned that into a grounding technique. And I feel like this is very important, that whenever you do grounding techniques, you do it because you know you're going into it with a purpose. Don't do it out of anxiety. Because whenever you do something out of anxiety to like ground you, it's not going to ground you. You're going to create another unhealthy habit. But if you know you're going into something, do it with purpose. Do everything with purpose. At that. But those mirrors, I remember those times I would go to the bathrooms and I'd freak out. I'd always look at myself after talking to somebody if I felt a little bit off, because I would hyperanalyze. I would try my hardest to understand what that person was thinking when they were talking to me. I was barely paying attention to the conversation. I was just worried about what they were thinking of me. Not me as a person, not me, my personality, everything that makes up who I am, but me as my physical form. I was so attached to it. I was so attached to my appearances, everything. But then, after times of running into the bathroom and looking at myself, I realized, I was like, maybe I can use this to ground myself before I start talking to anybody. And before I knew, because my anxiety was terrible during these times, I knew whenever I'm about to talk to somebody, I keep a little compact mirror with me. Keep it everywhere. Keep it everywhere you go. And I just open it, look at myself. I knew there wasn't anything on my face, and it would ground me. And I would go into that conversation feeling a little bit more confident, not worrying about if there's something on my face or what they're looking at, because I already saw what was there physically. But you need to look at yourself from another perspective too, because there's lots of times, and I know it well, when you look into the mirror and the only thing you're trying to do is see everything that you hate about yourself. Why? These are very important topics, and I'm very passionate about this Because you can be wasting so much of your life by focusing on small things that don't matter, where you could be using all of that energy into something you love, creating another future for yourself. You don't have to stay in one place for the rest of your life, besides how boring. I mean, imagine being like this. I mean, you want to stay insecure the rest of your life, or scared to do something, or scared to even talk to somebody. You can't do that for the rest of your life. You can, but it's not going to be a nice one. And you know it, because you already have that feeling. You get a feeling, whether it's conscious or not, there's something in your body telling you what's up, what's going on. You need to push yourself. I mean, take that step. If you can, take that step. Don't be scared to be rejected, because this is what it really is. Look, going back on topic. Whenever we get very worried that, going back to saying that things are stuck in our face, our insecurities are right there. It's not. People can't read that. But what they can read is the way that you hold yourself, the way that you present yourself, the way that you speak, the way that you act, the way that you hold yourself. That's what it is. That shows people what's really going on. And I think that's a hard truth for a lot of people, because then you say, oh my God, but what am I doing like this? Do it. I want to make people self-aware. I want them to understand everything that's going through them, but not hate it. Don't hate it, because you're going to drag yourself into the ground. And you don't want to do that. I mean, it's boring. It's a terrible life, dragging yourself into the ground. But really understand it, because that's just who you are. Whether you like it or not, that's who you are. But learn to like it, because things become a lot easier when you're not worried about what you look like or how you're dressing or what other people are thinking about you, because, again, nobody cares. I really can't stress that enough. And I'm not giving these examples to tell people I know better than them, but I've lived it. Many people have lived it. And you don't have to think, no, it's not me. How dare people think I have feelings? You have feelings. Everybody does. Some people, they don't want to show up, but that doesn't mean you have to be them. Look, at the end of the day, we weren't all born perfect. No matter how good or bad our lives were given, we are basically the same at the end of the day. By the way, listen to the Smile album. Perfect. Beautiful. Anyways, I can already feel it. You know, what if rejection comes from somebody that's very, very important to you? It hurts. Maybe 10 times more than any other type of rejection you'll feel. Maybe it's from somebody you love, a family member, anyone that's very important to you. But you have to think of it, why is this affecting you so bad? It just hurts. It's a physical feeling. But ask yourself questions. Don't be scared to ask questions. Maybe they want the best for you. You know, what if they know you have 1,000 times more potential than what you're putting out there? Maybe put yourself into other people's shoes and realize they've lived a life you'll never be able to live for them. Sometimes people deny because they have different experiences, different environments. They had a whole other life before you. And this really, for me, it comes from a place of my parents, because I would take everything that they told me to heart. Everything. And I would use it to self-destruct, to rebel against them, the people I loved the most. But really, if this comes from your parents, they want the best for you. If this comes from work, push through it. Go harder. Use it for motivation, because why not? If somebody else is doing it, why can't you? Honestly, nobody's bad. I'm not worth it or anything. I mean, everybody's got so much potential in them, so much beauty. And use that rejection. If you really feel like it's something physical, you can't really get rid of it, start using it for motivation, for the things that you actually like. But you need to separate that. You can't make one feeling take over the rest of your life about how you feel with everything. Life's patterns. The more you focus on one thing, the more it'll come, the more you'll see it. The more you focus on the color red, you're going to find it more. It's repetition. That's life. And look, I want to talk about overthinking, because whenever I was rejected, whenever I really took it to heart, I would overthink and overthink and overthink until I would drive myself into panic attacks, anxiety. I didn't even know what to do with myself. But questioning isn't bad. A lot of people say, no, stop overthinking, stop doing this. A lot of people overthink, and I've noticed this with a lot of my friends and with myself especially, that people are very good at observing. But whenever we put our personal feelings into it, it's going to eat us alive. The more we overthink, like, oh my God, did I do this? Is it because I did this? You're really hyper fixating on every small thing that you do and making it something bad, but you're missing the main focus, which is you. That is what it is. Questions aren't bad. Ask yourself some, though. I mean, if you don't like something, you can change it. Honestly. You're never going to have control of everything that's happening around you, but you have control of how you react to it. You have control of yourself, your emotions, everything. And find layers in those questions. Every question you ask, the more it might come over and over and you might get stressed, but work at it. Ask those questions. Look at it in different perspectives. Understand them. And every time that you answer those questions, you're going to have more. And that's fine. You're going to say, when doesn't it end? It's not like that. You need to really go into things with a different mindset. Walk into anything happy. Honestly. Find layers in those questions. Because it's beautiful. Every time you pass, it's like getting through a book. That dopamine hit that you get every time you finish those questions about yourself, you discover more and more about yourself every day. It might be things you don't like, but at one point it's going to be sucked in. You're going to love yourself so much that you're going to say, I don't like this, I'm going to work on changing it, but I don't have to hate myself forever for this. You can change everything. You can. And it's all because you want to. Because it's okay to feel. It's okay to feel. I'm not saying stop feeling like you're hurt and everything because you got rejected. No. It's good to feel, but don't be blinded by the feeling. Don't react towards it. And this comes from anger, especially, because a lot of people get angry as well. And I see lots of times that goes bad for so many people. I always say anger is such a useless emotion, because what does it do? It's just you're hurting yourself. You can hurt other people. You're making a fool of yourself. And that's how I really see it. Don't be angry. It's okay to feel, but don't act on it. Don't act on your anger. Don't understand it. You can understand your feelings and learn to react to it in a different way. Because that default where you're angry and you decide, no, I'm going to throw things, or I'm going to start screaming, or I'm going to start hurting the other person, it doesn't have to be the default. You can change it. Maybe you don't like it. And I notice a lot getting over my anger issues. I noticed every time that I was yelling, I started paying more attention to my words. I was like, I'm yelling at myself. Everything that I'm saying to this poor person right here in front of me that I'm yelling at, I'm screaming at myself and I'm taking it out on them. Pay attention to what you're saying. Pay attention, because this doesn't just come from anger, impulsive decisions. This comes from who you are. Don't be blinded by the feeling, because you can ruin your life and other people's lives with it. And I've seen it happen multiple times. I know so many of you have so much potential, but don't worry about being perfect. You can't be perfect. Mistakes are necessary. They're so necessary. And I see this problem a lot with self-help podcasts and videos and people. A lot of people try their hardest to to work at getting better and better and better so that they can create a version of themselves that never got hurt. You don't want to do that either. You don't want to completely erase your other life. What's the point in that? I really think you can live multiple lives in one. That's what's so beautiful about the one life you've been given. It's beautiful. Everything you can do with it. You can change everything about it in an instant, whether it be good or bad. That's why you have to be careful and know the steps you're taking. And you can't erase everything from the past. That is who you are. And it's something beautiful. Because you become a walking piece of art, a walking piece of complex art. And I see that. I walk past people and it's almost an energy that's coming off of them. You can feel they've gone through so many they've peeled away the layers of themselves. I think that's beautiful. I mean, because if not, you're really just walking around as your insecurities. And that is what it is. And it reads so deeply into you. When you could really just say, who cares? And become yourself. Be truly, completely, purely yourself. Otherwise, there's no point at all. Look, let's say you've completely gotten over the crash course of getting over rejection and you no longer have those fears. But now you struggle with saying no because it happens. You struggle with saying no to anybody around you. And, I mean, this really does come from a deep-seated need to fit in or to be approved. Why? And again, we jump back to what's reflecting from within us. Maybe we don't have enough approval from ourselves. And now, a lot of these times, it comes from insecurities, trying to bring you back into old habits. Don't let it take you. Fight back. You came this far just to let it go. Don't do that. And don't be like, oh, what if something happens and I lose it? You won't. Because you're not going to be scared of that anymore. At some point, you're going to be so completely in love with yourself and so secure of yourself that you're not going to have to worry about anything that happens around you or anything that happens to you. Because you know in your heart, you're going to try the hardest to protect yourself in any way possible. You're gonna know how to navigate through those life things, but you can't hurt yourself through the process because there's no point on adding on. It's self-destructive. It's crazy. I mean, there's so many things that can happen in an instant. You need to make sure you go into everything with the right mindset where you love yourself, because things become so much easier when you're not focusing about how much you hate yourself or anything, because it stays really deeply inside. Even if you're not paying attention to it, if you're so preoccupied with the terrible thing that's happening with you, you bury it. And it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. You don't want to do that. You don't want to drag yourself into the ground, because I've seen it happen a lot. Way too much. With a lot of my friends, a lot of people I've met, lots of people I see in passing. You see people just drag themselves down. You don't want to live a life like that. You don't want to live a life where you're on your deathbed and you're saying, I hate everything. Because how sad. You don't want to have regrets. I'm not saying you're not going to have them, because sometimes we change. We change our minds. We change how we think. That's fine. It's fine. I think you become a whole other person. All of those regrets, all of those mistakes, they led you here. Why not start now? Because the sooner you start, the sooner the people will forget who you were before. And if you're worried, oh my God, what will my friends think about me? Or what are my parents going to say? What is everybody around me going to think? Nothing. They're really not going to think anything. Your parents are going to love you for it. They want you to become a good person in society. Your friends, if they leave you because you're starting to say, hold your ground and take care of yourself, do you want those people around you? Like, really? And I say this deeply too, because this reminds me, you are who you are friends with. And that might suck for some people to hear, but you are. And you need to be very careful, too, with the people you decide to hang out with, because they can make or break you. The environment you're in can make or break you. You can choose where you want to be, but you really have to make that effort. Now, let's see. Look, I don't think it's bad to have all of these emotions and questions inside you because, like I was saying, you become a walking complex piece of art. I think it's beautiful. It's honestly, I can talk about this forever because every time I see those people, oh my god, the energy that you get from them, and it's calming because you understand it's calming. Things can change. And it's not just covering things up. It's not just piling, self-help, motivation, and everything because you want to get rid of something. You have to understand it. Don't learn it. Don't read books and just memorize it. Understand it. Feel it. Because that's what it is. Otherwise, you're never going to do anything else. And look, aren't you say, you are somebody else than the people that you hang out around. If you see everyone around you, partying, doing drugs, doing things that you don't like, skipping classes, doing all of that, and you have that inclination thinking, oh, well, I don't really want to do those things, but, everybody around me is doing it. You're not them. You can change your friend group, your environment. You don't have to conform. You don't have to follow along with the other people. I can tell you, for one, nobody cares if you say no for once. And if they do, leave them because, is that who you want to be around? Look, don't become the person next to you, too. And I know this becomes such a problem, and I see it a lot, that you find somebody that you admire, or a friend even. You find a friend and you develop such weird feelings where you're like, wow, they're so much better than me. No, everybody's equal, for one. Let's keep that clear. But you don't have to become them. What comes naturally for you, or what comes naturally for the people that you admire, whatever comes naturally for you might not come for them, honestly. And that's a beautiful thing. Every person's born so unique. And I think it's amazing. I love it. I love that every person's unique. You don't have to be the same as everybody else. I always talk about that. I'm like, imagine if everything was black and white. How boring. How boring seeing the same thing over and over and over. Don't be scared to become your own person. Seriously. It's not going to hurt anybody. And you're going to feel so good about yourself. Why not do it? You can discover things about you that you would be like amazed. You'll be amazed. You'll look at yourself in the mirror and you'll say, wow. And you won't be looking and saying, oh my god, I hate this or this. You're going to be looking because it's a reflection of you. You'll be just saying, wow, I just love myself more and more every day. And this is where we're gonna start with learning things about our life, because things might be so complicated or seem so complicated, but it's not. So what I'm telling you, do some affirmations in the mirror. Don't think it looks funny. It's not. You're alone in your house. Do some affirmations. Say you love yourself. Say you're good. Anything, whatever works for you. Find yourself. Because it's really, really not that personal. They're not going against you. Sometimes take it for what it needs to be. Advice. A no. A no doesn't have to be anything deep. It doesn't have to be a rejection for you as a person. It's just a no. Exactly what it is. A no. Don't hurt yourself. Rejection's just a reflection from you and the person or the thing or whatever it is. It is a reflection. And And guys, don't forget to tune in every 15 days for this amazing podcast. And don't forget to ask yourself, are you waiting for somebody else to move?